2 years have passed, and finally the shadow of the Erdtree has fallen across the world of Elden Ring. With the release of the new DLC, players have returned to the lands between to continue their adventures. This is a perfect storm for Boosteroid. With the release of their new 4K servers in Europe, people all over the world looking to jump back into FromSoft's latest masterpiece, and heavy-hitting competitors like GeForce Now lacking the ability to play Elden Ring, Boosteroid is looking like the place to game. Elden Ring, like other FromSoft games like Dark Souls 3, isn't authorized to be preloaded onto cloud services. Boosteroid circumvents this by allowing players to install the game during their cloud session. The game isn't preloaded on the system, and therefore players are making the choice to install the game onto their cloud system before they play. The install does add a little bit of time to the process of getting into the game. However, Boosteroid has optimized this process to be quite fast. The time it takes to get into the main menu of Elden Ring from selecting it in Boosteroid's install section is about 90 seconds. I imagine that's quite a bit faster than the install time on your home PC. Yet something isn't right about this menu.
What is this? A center for ants?
The resolution isn't working correctly. Is there an issue with my hardware? Steam seems to think my virtual monitor is 4K, so that's not the issue. The last time I played this game was at 4K resolution, so it's not carrying over previous settings from another rig. Tinkering with it, I'm having trouble getting it into the right spot. However, if I keep at it, and I bounce between full screen, windowed, borderless, eventually Boosteroid realizes that I have a 4K monitor, and the game lets me get down to business. Controls are a bit sluggish. I could play reasonably well, but anytime a slight bit of lag might cost me, it definitely did. This is because I'm connecting to France from Ohio in the United States. Anytime we're crossing the Atlantic, we're going to have latency issues. It can't be helped until the USA gets 4K servers too. I can't complain too much, as Europe has been starving for these upgrades for a while now, and it's their time to shine. This input delay should not be a problem for the people that the 4K servers are meant to cater to. Let us know in the comments how your 4K gameplay is going, and if this lag is an issue to you guys. The game defaults to RTX on, but there's a performance hit for doing so. Frames per second can't seem to climb much further than 45 with RTX enabled, though the effects do look pretty good. I'm going to disable RTX, which according to my diagnostics is getting the frames closer to 60 during normal gameplay. It'll be up to you to decide whether you want the RTX visuals or the snappier frame rate. The game is capped at 60 FPS. That has to do a lot with how the game is programmed and keeping players in sync with one another in multiplayer. In fact, if your FPS drops too much, you'll get kicked from a multiplayer session. Uncapping the FPS of Elden Ring isn't possible without mods, and mods aren't an option using Boosteroid's install feature. Still, something's off about this stream. Boosteroid's diagnostics show a 60 FPS decode, but it doesn't feel that way. Remember this, because we're coming back to it later. For right now, we're going to return to America and try out the standard plan and see if lower latency can solve my issues with the service. Oh, that is so much better. Now my latency has returned to the 20s, and the game is responsive, and I no longer randomly run off cliffs. Boosteroid defaults the graphical options for the standard tier to low settings. This is fine, but a lot of the crisp detail and colors I was enjoying on the Ultra tier are no longer present. As a great man once said, the most important feature of a game is the ability to actually play it. I will gladly sacrifice a bit of visual detail for crisp controls. Elden Ring uses anti-cheat software, and is both a competitive and cooperative multiplayer game. Let's hop into a duel and see how matchmaking works and how multiplayer goes on Boosteroid. I'm going to use this giant sword and see how well I do. That went a lot better than expected. I'm not a PvPer in Souls games, and this is my first time with the Guts sword, so I was expecting to eat dirt. Now something has been bugging me about my visuals, even connecting to the American standard servers. Steam reports 60 FPS. Boosteroid reports 60 FPS. This does not look like 60 FPS. Something seems off. Let's talk about what's happening here. I said I'd come back to it. It's not the latency to France that's making my FPS drop. And Steam's game diagnostics have no reason to lie to me. It's Boosteroid. The service looks choppy and crazy, but why? You can hit Ctrl F2 while using the Boosteroid app to open up the menu for the cloud service. Inside this menu is an option for stream bitrate. The slider is set low, and we are being punished for it. Check this out. By moving the slider up to better match the download speed of my internet service provider, everything gets better. Choppy graphics gone. On the American server close by, This means the entire experience is now amazing. I don't have any complaints anymore. The game plays in 1080p perfectly, looks smooth. For the 4K experience, not only does it fix the choppy visuals, but it also cuts down on my input lag. But why would stream quality affect input lag? Well, it's the same reason NVIDIA created the reflex system for cloud. Let's say I'm playing on a 100 millisecond delay, 30 frames per second. This means my stream has a delay of 33 milliseconds between each frame. This lower frame rate is more time before I see what's happening and can adjust my play accordingly. By doubling my frame rate from 30 to 60, I'm now only seeing a 17 millisecond delay in visual feedback, cutting my input lag by nearly 20%. The higher bitrate experience is worlds better. Until I found this sneaky hidden slider, I was not really feeling the Boosteroid 4K experience. The graphics were pretty, but the slower controls and constant video stuttering were driving me crazy. I figured it was probably better for my brothers and sisters across the pond, but I wasn't overly impressed myself. Yet once the stream rate was increased to actually be able to handle the amount of data I need for more FPS and a smoother experience, I'm ready to call Elden Ring on Boosteroid a phenomenal experience. This is a huge problem. The average Boosteroid user is not going to get this experience. Most of us are going to load the game, try it out, and if there's something really obviously wrong, we might tinker with it a few minutes before we give up and do something else. This bitrate issue is not only not obvious, but obfuscated by the fact that Boosteroid's stream diagnostics seem to report 60 FPS at all times, whatever the real numbers are. The solution to the issue is present in the Boosteroid app, this bitrate slider. How many of us are going to hit Ctrl F2, mess with these app settings, on the off chance that it solves a problem that the stream diagnostics isn't even reporting? How many of us know you can adjust the bitrate at all and it's not just defaulted to 25 megabytes like it was before? I'm sure the reason for the stream rate being lower by default is to keep bandwidth from being overused and otherwise save money. But the cost of such a decision is going to be the enjoyment of early adopters of this otherwise fantastic 4K Ultra experience. The verdict is recommended. Really, I am impressed with what Boosteroid's bringing to the table. Multiplayer is working flawlessly. The 4K Ultra tier is gorgeous, and once you get it running, it's just a great experience. My latency is tight when playing on the server that's intended for my use. The game feels great. Boosteroid has some issues to iron out, specifically resolution issues upon load, and the dual issue of dodgy stream stats and a low default bitrate, yet all the pieces of the puzzle are here. The service is looking really good. Boosteroid is getting a big win today, but they can do better with a few adjustments. If you enjoyed my review of Shadow of the Erdtree on Boosteroid, please like my video. If you're looking to try out Boosteroid, use the link in the description to support our channel. And subscribe to keep it tuned to the only place you can do battle in gaming heaven, Cloud Gaming Battle. Boosteroid, a win is a win, no matter how close it may have come to disaster. I'm Little Quick, and to slay the Carrion Queen, I too came very, very close to disaster.